what's up, Springfield? We are excited to share with you season 2 of Springfield Stories. Season 1 was amazing, and we were able to hear and share in the stories and the journey of our neighbors right here in our community. Season 2, we have more great stories for you to hear, because we all have a story. We all have an authentic story and a journey, and when we share those stories, it increases our capacity to show compassion, bring unity, and even encourage one another here in our community. So check out this story from one of your neighbors. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Springfield Stories. We have a great story today. So share us your name.
Danielle Flinch.
Danielle Flinch. Thanks for coming. I'm excited to hear your story. So let's dive into it. Dan, you're born and raised here in Springfield?
Yep. Born in Community Hospital in 1975. Long time ago.
So share with us how this journey, I'm sure you have a lot of story to share. So let's start, what was your upbringing like and family dynamic and move on from there.
Okay. So my parents were married, and I lived in a little town called New Moorfield. My dad worked at Navistar, like a lot of other people, and my mom stayed at home, and it was me and my brother. We had a great childhood, out playing in the creek and till the lights came. It was a regular, normal childhood. It was fun.
Yeah. What is there? How long were your mother and father married?
So my mom was a little bit older when she had me. She was 27 or 28, I think. They were married 17 years. They divorced after 17 years. My parents are still alive and well now and are really good friends, but after the divorce, we went with my mom, my brother and I.
Yeah. What is that dynamic? What's your relationship like with your brother?
So, that might be leading into my first story, because my brother passed away in 2002. I grew up after my parents divorced. We moved to trailer park in South Vienna. My mom was a school bus driver, and do you mind me telling about what happened to my brother?
Hey, this is your story.
Okay.
You can share whatever you want to share.
Okay. So, yeah, normal stuff, and my brother actually was ranked 11th in the nation in motocross when he was like 10, 11 years old, so that was kind of our life for a long time. But in January of 91, he got real sick with the flu. And my mom left him at home by himself because she was a single mom of 2 kids, and I was at school. And she had picked me up from school, and this might make me cry. We drove home. I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting to cry. We drove home, and he was like rolled up in the telephone cord, foaming at the mouth, having grand mal seizures. Oh. So, anyways, we called the emergency squad. They came. I went crazy, of course. But long story short, he ended up in a coma, and they actually flew him from Community Hospital to Children's Hospital in Columbus, Ohio. And he had a temperature of 106.3. So we don't know exactly what happened, but he had a high temperature. Sorry. Thank you. And he was in a coma for 10 days and actually became mentally and physically handicapped. So he ended up with brain damage from the fever and was actually in Children's in Columbus for 6 months. So I was 15 when he got sick, and he was 12, 11, 12, 13. I can't remember. But, so he was handicapped until he passed away in 2002. He was 24.
Wow. Wow. What type of, just off of that, like how did that affect your mom, your relationship, your father? That has to be hard to grow up with your brother, and then now all of a sudden, just in a matter of a day, everything just changes just like that. So mentally, how did your family deal with that?
It was hard. I mean, I don't, I was in my own world. I was 15, and in high school, I think I was a sophomore in high school. And, my parents, of course, were totally distraught and didn't know what to do. My dad actually, he took I don't know how it worked. He must have taken some kind of leave of absence because my brother was in Children's in Columbus for 6 months, and then he was able to come home. And then I can't remember the timeline that well because I was left at home by myself a lot because my parents were always at the hospital, and so I acted like a crazy 15-year-old, and I don't know. Thinking back now, I think because I'm a parent, like they had to have been devastated, but I don't remember anything about how they would have felt. I just knew. I mean, I remember driving down the road screaming at the top of my lungs, "Why him?" Those kinds of feelings, and being angry and what happened. I mean, we didn't actually know exactly what happened for ever. Like, we still don't know. They said it might have been something called viral encephalitis, but he never had a diagnosis on why he was so sick.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
And it was just flu-like symptoms.
How did that, I'm just trying to imagine, like, being 15 and you're a sophomore in high school, and with all the pressures and life that comes with being a teenager, and then having to go home and face that situation with your brother. And how did that affect your school at all, like, or education?
Yeah, I think I acted out quite a bit. I partied and drank and did all kinds of stuff I probably shouldn't have been doing. I always thought in my mind, as long as I graduate, if I can get a D, I'm good. As long as I don't fail, I get held back. As long as I graduate, I didn't care about school. I didn't care about college. I didn't care about any of that stuff. Like, I always, my two best friends were cheerleaders, and their parents were married, and they, I always felt, I grew up in the trailer park. Like, not that that's a bad thing, not that that's anything, but I kind of went, did my own thing at 15 years old. So nothing in school was important to me. I was just, acting out, I guess. I just did whatever. I started working when I was 15, though. I worked at the Melody Cruise Inn, was my first job. So it was pretty cool. But, I just felt like I needed to work and, get money and do whatever I needed to do.
Yeah. Did that change, like your approach to education? Did that change in high school, or you've always been like that? Like, school just really wasn't?
Well, it changed when I had children because I struggled so much. Off and on. I've had all kinds of different jobs, and I've just always worked, and I've ingrained it in my kids' minds. You gotta go to college. You gotta get a 4-year degree. You gotta, even if it's not what you want to do for the rest of your life, just get a degree in something. I did go back to school, but I was in my 30s, and I got an associate's degree. But honestly, almost all of the stuff that I've learned was like in business and stuff came from a job I got in 2012. They just had some great training, and now I'm a manager without a college degree. So you don't have to, but I want my kids to.
Yeah, that's something that I don't remember one of the episodes we did a while back. When I was talking about education, like, college is important, definitely graduation important, but that may not be the path for everybody. I think sometimes we can force it, but I mean, I personally believe college is not for everybody. That's just my personal belief. You know, sometimes it may be a trade, or you know, sometimes you want to go straight into the workforce and you can learn more that way. But I don't know. Like, do you think that, you know, college? First of all, congrats for going back to school and getting your associates.
Thank you.
You know, because some people just been like, I'm done with it. And, you know, I will say I'm with you on that. There was a couple classes when I was in school. I was like, if I pass with a D, yo, I am good.
Yeah. If I could afford to at least fail one and still graduate, I would have done that too.
I'm good. When I graduated college, I was done. Somebody was like, you know, are you going to go back to get? I'm like, what? No. I'm done. It's done. But leading up to, you know, let's back up a little bit. And what was grade school like for you? Like your elementary years and
That was good. Yeah, I went to Rolling Hills. Well, actually, I went to New Moorfield School, which nobody will remember because they tore it down in like, I don't know, 1985, 6. I'm not sure. I can't remember the year, but I went to Rolling Hills, and then, it's Northeastern School District, so it's like KR and Northeastern. And at that time, where I lived, I was right on the border of Kittenridge, that part of the school district. So I went to Rolling Hills with a lot of different kids, Northridge and then my area. And then, it was great. It was normal. I don't remember a whole lot about grade school. I felt like I had a lot of friends, and I do remember one time I got pissed off at, am I allowed to cuss?
yes, this is
okay.
This is an authentic, true self. We've had everything on here.
You have to put a viewer discretion type thing on there.
You're perfectly fine. You're fine.
Because I say a lot of bad words.
You're fine. You're fine.
But
no judgment.
I actually got pissed off and walked from the last day of school at Rolling Hills in the 6th grade because some girls pissed me off, and they let me. I got to like Route 4 before somebody came and got me. I just left, like, bye. But no, it was good. And then I went to South Vienna, and that was just 7th and 8th grade, middle school. So that was, still having some friends from Rolling Hills, but making all new friends that had actually gone there for elementary, and then went to Northeastern. So yeah.
Gotcha. What was your dynamic like? You mentioned your mom and the guy got a divorce. How old were you when they divorced, and then how did that affect your? Did you gravitate more to your mother or did your father? Or what was that dynamic like with divorce?
Yes. So even when my parents were married, I really didn't have a relationship with my dad. He was more so all about my brother, like motocross and, stuff like that. I do remember my dad working a lot of double shifts. So I remember seeing him on the couch taking naps, like all the time. So it was my mom. So I was always with my mom. I actually didn't develop a relationship with my dad too much until my brother got sick. Yeah, I don't really know him that much from grade school. Or, I guess my, birth till maybe 15.
Wow, that's a long time.
A long time. And then after they got divorced, we never did, every other weekend. I just, I must have been 12 or 13 when they got divorced. I was like, I don't want to go I'm not going to go. Now my mom made my brother go. But I didn't want to go, so she didn't make me. Wow. It wasn't until, my brother got sick.
Did you, as a young lady growing up, did you seek or did you want that relationship with your father, and did you try to find it in other ways? 'Cause I see a lot of young women who don't have that relationship with their father. They try to find that validation in other areas. In other ways that, what was your experience like with that?
Well, now that I look back, I guess, I was pretty, I don't know if it's normal or not. I was very promiscuous. I don't know if that had anything to do with the absence of my father. I don't know if it had to do with my brother being sick and my parents always leaving me by myself, and, I could basically do whatever I wanted. I don't know if, I had a boyfriend. I went to Northeastern and he went to South High School. And we started dating when I was 12 and probably dated till I was 18. So, I don't know if I was looking to him. I don't know. It was, my dad and I have a great relationship now. That's my daddy. But back then, I never really thought too much about how it affected me. But I just based on what, people think, those may be reasons why I did the things I did, is I just didn't have a good relationship with my dad at that time. So.
Yeah. So bring us up to, high school, and you mentioned a lot of challenges, things you were facing. So bring us into that world, and then bring us into parenthood, because your mother, and share us with that.
Okay. So I actually think my brother, he taught me a lot. I think that him being sick, because I was his caregiver. And so in high school, I had a boyfriend. I spent a lot of time at the hospital, my boyfriend and I, with my brother. I partied a lot in high school. So when my brother wasn't home, I did a lot of drinking and smoking weed and all that good stuff. And I didn't care about anything, I guess. When my brother came home, I graduated high school in 1993. They actually had developed a multi-handicap class at Northeastern High School, maybe 2 or 3 years prior to me graduating. And my brother had somebody taking care of him. Long story short, I ended up being his one-on-one aide in 1994. I was actually a teacher's aide at the high school I graduated from the year before, which was weird because all my friends were still there and I was employed there, so it was kind of weird. But, I don't know. I did a lot, and my life started to revolve around my brother and taking care of him, who taught me everything about compassion, empathy, sympathy. He taught me a lot. So
that's I think sometimes we don't acknowledge, just as society, as we're caregivers. That's huge, and a huge responsibility when you are the primary caregiver for your parents or your siblings, or and day after day, you're constantly that care, and how that really plays on you mentally and physically, and because your whole world evolves around that person, and I don't think sometimes as society we just give a lot of credit or recognition to caregivers,
Right.
And you were young.
I was young.
Doing that, so you try to party and take care of your brother, and
Yep.
that's a lot of dynamic in going on there.
Yes. My brother never ate again. He was actually fed through a G-tube. And I'll never forget the day my dad, because I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not feeding my brother through a tube into his stomach. I'm not doing that. And my dad's, yes, you are. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And he was like, yes, you are. And he made me, I'll never forget, because it was, you hold a tube, you pour this stuff called Jevity in there, and that's how your brother eats 3 days a week. And it was just weird to, here's my brother who the night before he got sick, he locks us out. I'm like, open the fucking door. Like, what are you doing? I'm yelling at my, little brother, just normal stuff. And then the next day, he's in the hospital. I actually say, he died twice. So he died that day because the Trinity that we had prior to that day wasn't the Trinity that we had then. So he passed, at 11 and then passed again at 24.
So bring us up to your brother passes away.
Yes.
At 24. So transition us to life after that, and then parenthood, and I don't know if you were married or anything like that.
So I met my husband in January of 99. We met in January. I got pregnant in May. We got married in September, and I had our son in March the following year. So 13 months, we met, got married, had a baby, got pregnant and had a baby. So
That's a quick turnaround.
and we were married 10 years. But my brother was still alive when my son was born. Dominic was born in 2000. You know, I worked at a bar in Springfield. That's how I met my husband. And, you know, it was good. I mean, my ex-husband had some issues, and you know, I worked 3 jobs. I worked at Navistar at the time. I bartended on the weekends, and I worked with my brother second shift after Navistar.
So when did you sleep?
Well, if I told you what I was doing now, you'd be like, there ain't no way, because I work a lot. So I'm just constantly doing, I feel like if I am too, because I've suffered with depression and anxiety. I've been through a lot. I've got a lot of stories. But I'm afraid if I sit too long that I'll fall down. So I think that it's that, you know, I got to keep going, because if I don't keep going and I stop for too long, I might just keep going down. So maybe that's it. I don't know.
Yeah. So your husband, so you're married and you have your son and your brother's still alive, and
then my brother, when he passed, you know, it's devastating when you have a death in the family. And actually he passed in September. I found out I was pregnant with our daughter in December. And I said, I don't care if it's girl or boy. This child's name is Trinity, because I'm naming this child after my brother, which she is Trinity Jean. He was Trinity John. But, you know, it was I was a stay-at-home mom. Actually, I had gotten hurt at work in 2000. I was off work 11 years, and I've had 6 major back surgeries.
I mean, hold on. Okay, finish about your story. Then we got to get to the back surgeries in 11? Yeah.
I was off 11 years.
Got you.
Because of an injury I had. I had my first surgery. But I see it as a positive, because I had to stay home. I wasn't allowed to work anymore, but it allowed me to be an at-home mom.
Right.
So, you know, it was kind of a, you know, the good with the bad. But I was off work 11 years. I stayed home with the kids, and my ex-husband was a truck driver. But it was great because I got to stay home with my kids. But it was hard for somebody like me who's been working since 15. But, you know, being an at-home mom's a full-time job. So.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So it was a lot.
So what? How many surgeries on your back?
I've had 6.
6 back surgeries.
I have all kinds of, my left leg I limp a little bit here and there. I try not to make it too prevalent, but I have a lot of nerve damage, and yeah.
What started the back surgery? That was your injury at work?
Yep, I herniated 3 discs. So I have a lumbar fusion of L3, L4, L4, L5, L5, S1, and I have sensory radiculopathy, arthritis, spinal stenosis. I've got all these.
Wow.
Yeah, I've had 2 spinal cord stimulator implants.
Wow.
Yeah. I fought real hard to go back to work after 11 years because I had doctors that kept telling me, you know, you might want to think about being permanently disabled. You might want to think about, you know, things like that. And I'm like, I got kids to take care of because I got divorced in 2010.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I mean, it's amazing just to have you, just to be sitting here. You know, and I would never know. This is why I love these stories. I'm telling you, I really love these stories because just looking and knowing you, I would have never known you had back surgery and all those like you, or even your leg. I mean, you never know, which is why I think it's important that we share stories and we talk because everyone has one. You know,
Absolutely.
But 6 surgeries, that is
a lot. I do seems like there's like a fighter in you though. Like you don't, like I'm going to bounce back. Like I'm like, you're not going to keep me down too long.
No,
you know?
never give up.
Yeah.
That's why I've told my kids, you can allow yourself a day or two, but you better get your ass back out there. My son went through kind of a rough breakup this year, and I was like, okay, that's fine, but you got to keep going. Just keep going. I know you're sad. I know you're upset. Same here. I've been through a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, yeah, a lot. I mean, my ex-husband passed away in 2015, so my kids is dead.
Yes.
So I've got a lot.
So share, because you mentioned you got divorced in 2010.
Yes.
And you just mentioned he passed away. So what led to the divorce, and how did you?
So I hope my kids don't get upset with me. I feel like we have to tell people stuff. If not, people talk. So my ex-husband had he was a drug addict. So it actually started because I had my surgeries. My ex-husband started stealing my pain medication from me. So prior to that, he had addiction issues, smoking weed, doing cocaine, stuff like that, but nothing like, I know that's not good, but, nothing like pills and stuff like that. So he starts staring me dead in my eyes and telling me basically I was crazy. So I went through this whole thing like, oh my God, like, did I forget, or am I accusing him and he really didn't take those pills? Like, I started to think I was I guess, that's a narcissistic type stuff. But I thought I was the one that was going crazy. Like, he was making me feel like I was nuts and he's stealing my pills. So it finally just came to a head, and I was like, I can't do it anymore. And I think I stayed as long as I did because my oldest daughter is actually not my biological daughter. She's my stepdaughter, and we had custody of her. So I knew if I divorced him, her biological mom would probably come take her from me because he wasn't going to take care of her. And I think that's why I stayed as long as I did, because...
Do you think, a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of people, but do you think there are people in marriages that stay because of their kids?
Absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
It's just because I hear a lot of that, like, I stayed 10, 15, 20 years, and once they were grown, once they were out on their own, it's like you're done. So were you in that place? Like, I'm in this marriage, but I'm not in it, and
absolutely. I tried, as hard as I could, because I wanted my kids to grow up with me and their dad. I loved Ray, but he, the things he was doing to me, you don't do to somebody that you love and respect. So I just think that I finally, I thought, you know what? I will dedicate my life to making sure my children grow up, feeling loved and cared about and all those things without him. And now it's his choice to decide how much of a parent he wants to be. I made my choice. I'm going to be, my kids are everything. I've been single for 11 years because my kids are, because I don't have time for nobody. I got my kids and that's it. Like, I worked, and that's just me.
Yeah.
That's how I handled it.
Yeah. How did the divorce affect your kids?
Quite a bit. My son, I'll never forget I hope my kids don't get mad for me saying things, but my son at 10 years old, and I don't know what was going on, told me that he had a thought about jumping out of our second story window. That's pretty heavy at 10 years old.
That is.
And I know it was shortly after, our divorce. And I didn't handle the divorce very well because I didn't want to do it. I felt like I had to do it. And my son actually was pretty angry with me for a long time. Until now, because he's a big mama's boy. He has always been. That's, your first son is your first love. But it was hard because my son's dad was his best friend. So it was hard. I stayed as long as I did because I thought about how it would affect them.
Right.
So.
What about your daughter? How did that?
I feel like, so, I don't feel like it was as heavy. It may have been. They just did not express it in any specific way. I feel like now my oldest didn't handle it very well because she had to go stay with her mom. And so I don't know. I can't speak about how she felt, but I know she was angry that she wasn't with me anymore. Her mom had some issues, and I think she was mad at him for a long time for not, for breaking up the family. Yeah. Now, my youngest, well, she didn't act out. She didn't, of course they cried and were upset, and he was pretty absent. There was no regular weekends or, Wednesdays at the, going for ice cream. There wasn't any of that after we divorced, so.
Wow. And then, he passes away in 2015.
Yes.
So, bring us to that moment in your life.
It was extremely unexpected. Actually, the girls were downstairs when he passed away upstairs. This was at his father's house. That was really hard. That actually would have, my son really became angry after that, and he was in high school, so I couldn't tell you how many holes were punched in the wall downstairs in the basement. He was just angry. But it was hard. Very, very, very hard. I've evolved quite a bit since then as far as my beliefs go and how to handle stress. I meditate and stuff like that. So I've been trying to instill that in my children because they're 23, 22, and 19. So they have those tools to deal with things like that because they went through it for a while. Angry, sad, upset, but now they seem like they're doing pretty good. Yeah. So that's a lot.
That is a
it was a lot.
That is a lot. That is a lot. So, now, well, let me back up first because you mentioned something that you struggled with, depression and anxiety. And, let's hit on that for a minute because I do believe that there are quite a few people that may even watch this that struggles with depression and anxiety. Is there something that you think that led to that? One of the episodes, something that led to that piece, and then how did you navigate through it, if that makes sense?
Absolutely. My injury led to it.
Gotcha.
You have doctors telling you, you might be permanently disabled at, 25 years old at some point, by the time you're 40, I'm 47 and I'm doing better now than I was 10 years ago because I was listening to them. When I realized that I don't need to listen to them, it's me, mind over matter. So I was on 2 antidepressants, pain meds, muscle relaxers, tons of stuff, off and on over the years. And what changed my life was, of course, I've been through therapy off and on for many years. I had a lady sit there and tell me, why don't you meditate? And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to sit there and be like, no, I'm not doing that. And she's like, no, just take, 10 minutes. I'm like, okay. So meditation, and I tell people this every day, saved my life. Wow. And it's literally because I started to realize that this stuff isn't what's making me unhappy. This stuff isn't what's going to make me happy. This is what's going to make me happy, and this is what's going to make me unhappy. So it was learning to control my thoughts. learning to control my thoughts changed my perspective, changed my reality, changed my life. So, I mean,
it's like a renewing of the mind.
Absolutely, totally renewing of the mind. So I have learned a lot about, people like Abraham Hicks, Tony Robbins, law of attraction, stuff like that. So that changed my life, but it came with therapy. I started going to therapy.
Yeah. What age did you start therapy?
So I had some prior, but this was 2017. So 2017, not long ago at all. I mean, this is just in my life's changing just in my 40s. I wish I knew this stuff in my teenage years, in my 20s, because my life, would have, of course, maybe not been so hard. I may not have struggled. I mean, I've thought about suicide. I mean, I've thought about all that stuff, but I've realized that it has to be me and how I control how I feel, not them. Somebody can make me mad, but how I handle it is, up to me, not them.
Yeah, I've like, you can't give people that much power or control over you. At the end of the day, you're responsible for your action and your actions. You know, and just growing up, I've always had that mindset that I can't give you that much control. Like if you could do something and upset me and it takes my whole day, I've given you way too much power.
Way too much, yes.
Like way too much. It can affect you for a little bit, but at the end of the day, okay, then you bounce back. Like, you're not about to ruin my whole day because you don't have a good day.
That's right.
That's
right. I mean, I still do, sometimes I'm like, I get upset or whatever, but I've been, like I mentioned, I've been single a long time, but it's more so because I've wanted to be my best version, because in my past, I had looked to others to make me happy. What they do is either going to make me happy or sad. Like, why, like you said, the power. Why am I going to give somebody that much power over me, my life? So now I don't care what people think. I don't care what people say. Okay, that's funny, whatever, and move on, because it's not, who cares?
Yeah. So, hey, that's valid. That's valid. So bring us up to where you are now.
Okay, so now, I went back to work in 2012. I sold cars at Jeff Weiler. It was probably the best job I've ever had. It was fun because I'm a caregiver. I'm a helper, so I approached it. I know car salespeople get a bad rep, but
they call me a lot, and I keep
they need your car.
Yeah, and if somebody's watching, stop calling me. I paid off my car. I don't want another car payment. I got 2 daughters, and I'm taking that to help them. So
there
please stop calling me. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But it was, I approached it as me providing the information to somebody that wants it, and then I hope I sell a car in the end. But I worked for 5 years, and then I had to go off work again for my injury.
Okay.
So that was 2017.
Yeah, another back injury?
So the same back injury, but I just got so deeply depressed because of my pain that's when my therapy started pretty intensely. So I was off work from March of 2017 until, see, what year is it? 23? I went back in November of 21. So I did 11 years off. I worked 5 years, and then I was off again for 4 years. So, but now I am the family service manager at Rose Hill Burial Park in Glen Haven. Like I said, the lady that I had therapy with who told me about meditation saved my life, because in 2017 I thought it was over and I was done and ready to give up, because I don't want to live the rest of my life in pain like this. I mean, every day I'm in pain, every day. But practicing meditation and controlling my mind, and which controls our body sometimes, like, changed me. So I went back to work. I started selling furniture in at Fairfield Commons Mall because I was like, I don't want to go sell cars again. And I saw a guy I used to work with at Jeff Weiler, and he recruited me, and I started selling Mercedes-Benz, and it was awesome. And then I decided I went out of cars business again, and now I'm at the cemetery. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
And that's where my brother's buried.
Wow. You said, so 17, we got a couple more minutes so we can wrap.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
I could talk all day.
Hey, I love it. I love to hear the stories.
There's a lot.
I love to hear because, you mentioned in 2017 when you had to stop working again, you felt like, you know what, this is it. Back to the same thing, the depression and things like that. So my question is, how did you come up to the meditation to really want to try that? Because, yeah, like how did she approach you to give that a try?
So first time I ever did it, I remember going home. It was a few sessions before I was finally like, okay, I've got time to do a meditation. So I just looked on YouTube, 10-minute meditation. And I remember laying on my couch. I put my phone like right here on my chest so I could, listen. I closed my eyes, and it was a guided meditation, and it was just breathing. When I was done, I was like, I kind of feel a little better. And, I've practiced so much that I could do an hour-long meditation, and I went into stuff like astral projection and jumping paradigms, just a bunch of weird shit nobody knows about. But it's just, if you approach it as just, we go to the salon, we go get a massage, we do those things. That's basically what meditation is. It's just being quiet and breathing and trying to clear your mind. First time I did it, my mind, I got some constantly doing something, thinking about something, doing this. It's like, squirrel, oh wait, it's just trying to control that chatter, and it takes a lot of practice, because the first 10 minutes I was like, I feel a bit better, but I had thoughts just pinging around in there the entire time. But it takes practice, just like with anything else. You practice, you get better at it.
Yeah. What is to shift gears for a minute, growing up, what do you think about Springfield? What like growing up in Springfield and born and raised, still living here? There's a lot of since you said 75, 2023. You've seen a lot. So just what do you think about Springfield now?
Well, I'm pretty proud of it. I think that it's all about what you focus on. Anywhere you go, you're going to have negative and positive. If we focus on all the negative things, then all you're going to see are the negative things. So it's just changing focus. So I've changed my focus into seeing more positive than negative. So I think there's a lot of great things. I was part of the John Legend, Finding Harmony down here. And, there's a lot of really good things that happen here. Just like there's a lot of bad things, but it's just all about what you focus on. So I've changed my life because I was a victim. This happened to me. I got hurt. My brother died. My ex-husband died. I was a victim. So I just stopped with that mindset and changed to being the victor mindset. Yeah. So it's a choice. It's your individual choice. Do you want to be the victim and, all these things happen to me? Or do you want to be the victor and say, okay, these things happened to me, but now it's changed me so I can see the positive about this. So, it's just, it's what you see.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful. How's your relationship with your kids? And
they're
dynamic?
Everything to me. My parents, I have a great family. I have great friends. My kids are everything. My oldest will graduate from Ohio State this year.
Wow. What degree?
Psychology. She wants to work with people with addiction.
Nice.
My middle son did 3 years of college and then decided he wanted to drop out, which was fine with me because, we all have our own path. He plays poker for a living and then works and bartends in Columbus. He lives in Columbus.
Oh, you could play poker for a living?
Yes.
Really?
So we are a family of gamblers. We play cards every Sunday at my house. My entire family, my kids, my mom, my aunt. We play cards from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday. Everybody in my family, all my friends know where to find us all. I cook for everybody, and we sit at the table and play cards. So he's been pushed around the poker table since he was a baby. And then my baby goes to University of Cincinnati. She's a sophomore. She's changed her major about 7-8 times, so she's not sure. But, she's in school, and she has a boyfriend. They live together. He's great. But I'm super proud of my kids. Super proud.
That's good. That's amazing. I love the triumph part of stories, because that's the great thing. We all go through story, journeys, life, but there's always the other side.
Absolutely.
The other side of it, where you can say, yeah, I went through this, but look at the positive.
Yes.
Look at the positive.
It's a choice.
And that's amazing. That's amazing. So any hidden talents?
No, I'm good at everything. I'm just kidding. No, I don't have any hidden talents. I don't know. I just live day by day. So
yeah.
I like to have fun. I like to, I'm the cheerleader for everybody. I'm not a hater, so I just like to, have fun and meet new people.
How was that being on the show Fighting Harmony?
It was awesome. It was a neat experience. I have another story. I know that we're short for time, but the way I got contacted
he could
for
cut
that.
It out. Share it.
Okay.
He could cut
okay.
He could cut a bunch of stuff.
The way I got contacted for that was really weird because I posted a Facebook thing that kind of went, a few thousand views. It was about a dare officer that went to my daughter's graduation. He made a promise. Anyways, the casting director contacted me from that post. Wow. The post was a year old. I'm like, how in the hell did he find that? I remember he sent me a message on Facebook, and I was like, yeah, this is a scam. He goes, no, here's my credentials. And that's how I was contacted. I didn't know anything about it. It was just like the weirdest thing. That's law of attraction. And he asked me to do a Zoom interview, and it just went from there. And I was one of the ones that were picked to be featured. Wow. We shot for 5 days. It's a lot of taping. They cut a lot, of course, but yeah, that's how I ended up on the show. I'm not a singer. I can't sing to save my life.
So you're finding harmony and you can't sing.
Can't sing.
Come on, you gotta be able to hold a
Nothing.
tune or something.
No. Hell no. Not even. I start to sing and by myself and I'm like, shh, Danielle, shut up. No, I can't sing. And they knew that. I even say, and I did somebody did a clip of me, because I have another job I go to, and me on the screen where I say, I'm not a singer, because I'm not, but they picked me, because I got lots of stories.
Wow.
Been there, done that. But yeah, that's how I ended up on Finding Harmony.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yep.
So you don't have any musical bone, nothing musical?
Nobody in my family can sing. Nobody in my family plays an instrument. Now, my daughter did piano class, and my oldest taught herself to play guitar. No, we cannot sing. Cannot sing. Nope. But I sung in the choir. I sung.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. As we wrap up, what is something, looking back through your story, and I'm sure we had lots of time, you could share more.
Oh, lots.
But what would be one positive thing that you would share with someone that's watching that may need some encouragement?
Well, we have control. So, if you're sad or upset or have something going on, just allow that to process. We're here for a human experience. And, I say all the time, I had a decade of horrible stuff happen to me, but now I'm on a different path. So it changes. And like I tell my kids all the time, it always gets better. Always.
Good deal. Thank you, Danielle, for sharing your story.
You're very welcome.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.